welcome to another episode of Conscious Straight Talk with Katie and Lindsey.
Mm-hmm. Hi, my name is Katie Hutchinson, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a certified mediator. And we are here today to talk about emotional abuse.
Mm-hmm. I'm Lindsey Kearns, the mama behind MalibuMamaLoves.com, and I'm also a certified conscious trauma-informed life coach.
Yes. So emotional abuse. We've said this before, but we just want to keep
repeating the domestic
and
violence
pounding
facts.
So 1 in 3 women will be abused in their life, and 1 in 4 men will be abused.
And that's only what's reported, Katie.
Oh yeah, and there's so much more that's
and that's for the domestic violence. So,
right.
You know, we say this every time because we just really want to make it hit home to you guys that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you're in a restaurant,
mm-hmm.
anytime you're in, wherever you're going, in a
mm-hmm.
store, you're out with your girlfriends.
I think it's half of the population, personally, from what I know.
Yeah.
But also, 50 to 80% of people in the United States have experienced emotional abuse. That's insanity to me.
That's such a high number.
And it doesn't have to be your partner, just so you know.
No.
This can be somebody at work,
family members,
friends.
even your kids. People don't realize your kids.
Well,
can
they're all
emotionally-
narcissistic. I'm constantly being abused.
Your kids. So, there's abuse from everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It's not just partner abuse.
Yep.
We like to start with a domestic violence statistic because that's so important. But
yes.
50 to 80% of adults being emotionally abused.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
But it doesn't surprise me because if you
a
have
lot.
like a friend or whatever.
So let's talk about what actual emotional abuse is. And that's when someone tries to manipulate you for their benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to get you to do things to suit them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes even just to see if you'll do it.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't surprise me.
So they
use isolation. They try to get you away from your family and friends so that they can just put you in a little cage.
Much like you and I have our conscious toolbox that we always say
yes.
to use things, they have their own toolbox.
Mm-hmm. But it's an evil
horrible
toolbox.
Manipulation tactics.
It's an evil toolbox.
Isolation is one.
And I just want to say something about isolation. It's so important. I say this all the time. Women, men, do not lose your friends when you're in a relationship. Do not lose your family. Yeah. You always need friends and family. You don't know what your future is going to be. So try not to allow somebody to isolate you and put you in a cage.
But sometimes, we'll
happens.
talk about this next, but it's so slow that you don't even know that it's happening.
So insidious.
Gaslighting. That's
mm-hmm.
how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Gaslighting is when you know for a fact an action occurred.
Mm-hmm.
You bring it up to your partner or your friend or your whoever it is,
mm-hmm.
and they just start talking over you. No, you're crazy. That never happened.
How
could that happen?
Insane.
You're nuts.
Yes, they say you're insane, and then you start to believe it, and you know that it happened. So you're like, wait, I know that it happened, but I'm starting to believe it. It makes you question yourself.
Your whole reality,
yep.
everything. Love bombing is
mm-hmm.
the other tactic.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they make you feel great.
Think of the honeymoon stage.
Yeah, you get gifts and they'll cook for you and they'll do every little
sweet texts about how beautiful you are. Yes.
Triangulation and flying monkeys, which we did a whole other episode on that. But
mm-hmm.
the triangulation is where they use your friends to talk about you behind your back
or your family
and get them to hate you and be mad at you as well.
An example is, let's say I get into a fight with Lindsey and I'm mad at her. Instead of going to her, of which I should, I bring in another friend and I start talking and saying, isn't Lindsey annoying and crazy and blah, blah, blah. And then I want them to say, oh yeah, she's so crazy and annoying and blah, blah, blah. And then the two of us are talking about how crazy she is when really I should have just gone to her.
And you've created a triangle now because now
mm-hmm.
we went from just you and I having
mm-hmm.
a problem to
mm-hmm.
2 people having a problem with me.
Yep.
And so, and
really
that continues,
mm-hmm.
right? You will be able to manipulate that person to be nice to my face
mm-hmm.
or to continue our little friendship, if you will.
The person will try to manipulate them, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you're good at it, you'll probably do it.
And trauma bonding, that's another tactic that they use.
What is that?
That's a hard one. That is one of the hardest things to overcome. A trauma bond is when your abuser does something awful, hurts mm-hmm. you, and then the next day gives you so much love and
mm-hmm.
love bombs you. And you feel, okay, I'm hurt. I want to turn to the person that hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a trauma bond.
Because is that to make it better? Like if you turn to the
feel
person?
Better. Yeah. to gratify me. That's a
Mhm.
huge trauma bond
Mhm.
because realistically, you're the one that hurt me.
Mhm.
You're not going to be able to heal me or help me,
Yeah.
right? Ever. And you're going
No.
to keep hurting me. But I'm
But in
so
the
trauma
moment-
bonded to you. I know that soon, tomorrow, the next day, the next week, you're going to make me feel better.
Yeah, in the moment, they make you feel better.
Yeah.
So usually they make you feel better.
Yeah.
And then insults. So just it's a bit
and
slow.
dirty.
Yeah. So like, tell me what you were saying to me before.
Yeah. So it starts off with like, oh, you look beautiful today, but you know,
Thank you.
kind of not loving this shirt.
Oh.
To
okay.
in a month or two, once you're more comfortable to, oh, what are you wearing? Come on, Katie, you can dress better than that. You know, and it's slow. It's like these little things, or
Yeah.
you know, God, why did you do that at work today? What's wrong with you? Like, did you even think?
I tried.
But do you see? They can just come right in at you with these insults.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about how it makes you feel.
Mm-hmm. So you feel worthless, understandably so. They break
Useless.
down your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Slow and steady, and it can take years.
Mm-hmm.
And once that self-esteem is gone, you no longer can even recognize yourself.
Yep.
Suddenly, you're changing your identity,
Your values,
everything,
your
just
ideas.
to fit the abuser.
Mm-hmm. And they, as the person that's being abused is looking at the abuser and trying to figure out, okay, what do they need? What do they need?
Right.
What do I need to do to make you
Right.
happy?
Right.
Right. And when the
The whole
abuser found you, they look for people pleasers. They look actually for people like
Yeah.
Lindsey and myself, because we're both people pleasers.
Yeah.
They look and they find that person that just wants to give and give and give.
Yep. So you're going to start changing your activities.
No more
Please, the
pickleball.
abusers. I know.
They're out of there.
Someone tried to tell you that. I wouldn't even want to
They're
be.
out.
I
They're
wouldn't
out.
even want to be in the same town
No,
when someone
exactly.
tried to tell you that.
No, out of there. Okay.
You no longer hear your own voice. You start to value your abuser's opinion over yours.
Mhm.
And this is significant for the people pleasers, because that
Mhm.
can slowly start to happen. Like, you already
Mhm.
going into the relationship want to make them happy.
Mhm.
That's just naturally who you are.
Mhm.
So you give over that trust of like, okay, you got to be more right than me. You know more than me.
Mhm.
And that's that self-esteem is gone.
Mhm.
So once that's out of there,
Mhm.
you don't have the ability to hear yourself anymore.
No, you know what?
You're an
I was
extension.
with exactly. It's like your arm.
Yeah.
It's like their arm. I was in a relationship that was not healthy. It was emotionally abusive, and this person did not like me to wear low cut items. So then I started tailoring my wardrobe and like trying not to buy stuff where there was. I mean, not that I'm like a cleavage bearer or anything, but trying to find stuff that was like, you know,
Yeah.
a turtleneck. You know what I'm saying?
Well, out of character for you.
Yeah, not me.
That's what it is.
Not me.
And that's the point there, is that, you know, you do these things to try to please them that
Mhm.
ordinarily you wouldn't even
do.
think about.
But you're thinking, okay, what's going to make them happy? What's
Right.
going to make them happy?
Right.
Okay, so we talked about your questioning your own reality,
literally,
gaslighting.
and that's from the gaslighting.
Yeah, so
you
that
know?
would be me going, I must have really bad style. So really,
Well, but then also, like, because for me, a lot of the time, and this is just one of the
Or I look
craziest
slutty.
parts
Yeah.
of the emotional abuse that I still to this day, like, I get it, but I
Mhm.
just don't get it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Is that the confusion that happens when these abusers actually get angry at you
Mhm.
for finding out what they did wrong and confronting them. So they're mad at you
Mhm.
for them hurting you.
Mhm.
I
Which
lived through this
is
for
insanity.
years, and I was like, what? I don't understand what I did
Mhm.
wrong. I just am trying to talk to you about this. Like, it's being gaslit and
Mhm.
told that you're
Love
crazy,
bombing
and you
in
just
the
get
good
so
stages.
confused, and then you wind up thinking, I must have done something
Mhm.
wrong, because no rational person would act this way. It
Mhm.
has to be me.
Mhm. Yep.
And that's one of the worst things.
Yep.
You
And
know?
then we said isolation before. And then okay, so now we're going to talk about physical.
And wait, I just want to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about the isolation real quick too, because
Mhm.
that, for me anyway, it started off like,
Mhm.
I was a very, very social person.
Give an example, like
I
of
had
a friend.
yeah,
Okay.
I had a lot of friends when I met my
significant other,
other.
past significant
The
other
long
that she
ago
got
one.
rid of. Yeah, that she needed to get rid of.
Anyway, and it would start off with like him monopolizing my time and dominating my time, to then, I would have a lunch date with some girlfriends or go out, do whatever, to, oh, Mom, what did you think of what she said? Like,
Mhm.
I don't think that's really on her.
Mm.
Is she doing this for work now? Like, why would she?
Was she
Why would she
giving
want to
you a
that?
dirty? She looked like she was giving you
Yeah.
a dirty
So
look.
he would start to get in to where I was like starting
To think your
just-
friends and your family suck, probably.
but because it was me.
Yeah.
Right? Like I internalized that. I was
Mhm.
like, well, there must be something wrong with me.
Mhm.
Where it grows to where like you can't even pick friends anymore
Mhm.
because you're so like,
Well,
person
everyone
isn't gonna like
everyone the person is gonna put down.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a bummer. Okay, so we're gonna talk about physical changes. So changes in appetite. So you either are binging or you're starving yourself, basically.
And I think as you go over the roller coaster of emotional abuse, because it is a roller coaster, it's
Mhm.
not linear.
Mhm.
You're going to be
The
up
cycle
one
of
day
abuse, just
and
like we
down
talked
the
about.
next.
Mhm.
I feel like, and I know for myself, I would go through periods where I was like totally binging and eating as much as I could.
You were
and
eating
then,
potato chips. She
oh
has a
no,
thing for
Doritos
potato.
are so bad in potato
Oh,
chips.
Doritos
Oh
are
my
so
god.
yummy. They remind me of
Oh.
childhood. My childhood.
I
Love a
know,
good
but I love
Dorito.
them and the bag of my Cape Cod chips. Oh gosh, it
Oh,
was
those
bad.
sound good.
Anyway, I would, binge on that, and then I'd have periods where like I wouldn't eat for 3 to 4 days because I
you
was
were
so
stressed.
out,
The person
you
probably
know?
wasn't talking to you.
So when we say changes in appetite, it can be either way,
And yeah, exactly.
and it can be fluctuating.
Right.
That's also an issue is when you're not consistent at all.
Mhm.
I wasn't consistent
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. The next one is nausea. And I know with anxiety can create anything. So
Yeah.
I know when I have anxiety, I can feel nauseous.
Yeah.
I can make myself feel nauseous. So
Absolutely.
these people are nauseous. They have difficulty sleeping, but of course, who
Which
doesn't?
leads to fatigue.
Which leads to fatigue. They
Yeah.
have headaches, which I was saying to her, I've had headaches ever since my dad died, and she was saying, of course, it's
It's your body's
your trauma.
response.
yeah, exactly.
And it's also notifying you to like, hey, slow down. You need to take some time. You need to rest.
Go to
You
sleep.
need to
Go get
to
your
heal.
bed.
Yeah, everything isn't going really that great right now
No.
when you have that headache.
And
PTSD, and which leads to CPTSD, which is just complex. I
Mhm.
shouldn't say just, but it's complex PTSD. It's something that I suffer from now. The PTSD takes on a whole new level when it becomes complex, and you start having. I don't want to call them episodes or issues, or I don't really know what
how
you would
about that
say,
it doesn't
but when
really
you're in
go
public.
away?
Well, no, it's when you're in public, when you're around other people and you can't control them.
Okay.
You've got to bring that trauma response down. It's when your
Okay.
body goes into fight,
Almost
flight,
like a
freeze,
panic
or fawn.
attack. A panic attack. Okay. Okay.
So the CPTSD, you have to learn how to
deal with that. Now, under PTSD is when you start to you're hypervigilant. So always
Yeah.
like I heard like a truck. Oh my gosh, I heard a truck, and maybe something's going on with my kid's school. I mean, you just draw
Not
these
only that, but you're also just walking on eggshells.
Mhm.
You feel like if I say the wrong thing, if I look the wrong way, if I cook the wrong thing, if I do one thing wrong,
Mhm.
it's going
If
to
I
be
wear
days
the
of
wrong
pain,
thing, exactly.
days of hell.
Exactly.
You
And
know?
irritability, because how could you not be irritable?
Yeah.
And then there's long-term effects. And so there's depression and anxiety, which also is under the PTSD. And then what else?
Chronic pain, powerlessness,
Is there?
feeling of shame and guilt, and I think it's the shame
Mhm.
that is one of the worst things to have to deal with,
So
because you
embarrassed?
internalize that.
So is it embarrassed that this is happening to you and you can't let anybody know?
And it's embarrassment, but more than that, it's the shame of like, there's something so wrong with me that I have to be treated this way. I should just
Mhm.
stay hidden from the world.
That makes
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Mhm.
And it can make you make choices that just don't serve you.
And
at
how
all.
about being sad about losing your friends and family because you have
I don't
no
think
time
you
to
even
be with
notice it.
them?
You don't even notice it. I didn't even realize. I mean, you moved me across the country, and I didn't even realize the
That you
walls
miss
that
your
were
family.
being built
Yeah.
and the walls that were being put up all around me. I
Mhm.
didn't even notice any
Mhm.
of that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So the way to treat this is CBD or CBT.
CBT, cognitive behavioral
Behavioral
therapy.
therapy.
So we're going to work on changing your thoughts and your feelings, and that's then going to come out into your behavior.
And we've talked about that before. These are our neural pathways.
Mhm.
We do this in our master class
Mhm.
with a lot of people, where we start to rebuild our neural pathways
Mhm.
because we can.
Mhm.
It's totally possible.
Mhm. Oh my gosh, I just have to say this. I just thought of the best example of gaslighting. So my first husband, being the nice man that he is, he cheated on me, and to this day, and I had a private investigator, I have pictures, I have.
Your friend even talked to the woman.
Yeah, exactly. My friend talked to the mom.
Like,
I mean,
there's
there's
no
so
doubt.
obvious. It was all over the credit card charges, whatever. And to this day, he says, "You're crazy. I never cheated on you. You're crazy."
And that's gaslighting.
And that is gaslighting. I'm like, I have the pictures and the what?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Medication. Sometimes you might need some kind
Just
of
help-
anxiety.
just to help to
depression
calm
thing.
your nervous system down to get through this.
And group program. Find your community. This
Yeah.
is the biggest thing. This was the game changer for me.
Mhm.
I found a narcissistic abuse recovery program. It was like 30 days.
Mhm.
I could do it just at home, but we had a community where we were holding each other accountable. We exchanged phone numbers with, certain people you click with.
Mhm.
You're talking to them.
And you're not feeling lonely. You're seeing
No.
that other people are experiencing
Well,
this or
that's
have
it.
experienced it. And so you don't feel so lonely and isolated.
Yeah.
It's like, and you don't feel crazy.
Right.
You feel like, okay, everybody else has been told that they're crazy here too. They can't all be crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
No, and there's so many aha moments. It's literally like the best thing on the planet because you start hearing other stories and thinking, oh, that happened to me too.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I'm not alone.
I'm not crazy.
I'm not
I'm not crazy.
So if you are the victim, if you
Mhm.
are going through this right now,
Mhm.
really quick, I just want to say this to you.
Mhm.
I hear you and I see you and I've been in your shoes. And when you're ready to, we can help you change. We can get you out of there, but you've got to be ready to do that.
Mhm.
Right?
One thing that I read that I think is helpful for your friends or somebody that you know that's going through this, you say, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here for you to listen to, but I'm really here for you when you decide to leave. I'm here and I'm going to back you up. You're not alone.
Yeah.
So that's
and
really
I think
important.
it's basically asking, like, what do you need? Instead of
Mhm.
saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Mhm.
I can't stand when people do that. Like, it's
Mhm.
not their fault. Why are they apologizing to you?
I mean, it is.
Instead, no, I think it's better to say, thank you for sharing that with me.
Mhm.
How can we help you?
Mhm.
What can I do for you right now? How can
Mhm.
we get you out of this? And the very first step is to really develop a safe exit plan.
And that you do with your therapist.
Your therapist
Or
or
a
a
close
very trusted
friend.
close friend who
Yeah,
knows
or
what's
family
going on
member.
and can help you create. Now, the other thing is, in creating the exit plan,
Mhm.
you can call the National Domestic Hotline,
Mhm.
Domestic Violence Hotline.
And for
I actually
support.
have this number memorized by now.
Oh, good. Say it.
800-799-SAFE, SAFE.
Mhm. Let me
But
say that again. 1-800. We're also going to write it in the comments.
yeah,
or the
and it's
whatever.
all over MalibuMamaLoves.com, right on the
Yes.
side column. I keep it everywhere.
1-800-799-SAFE.
And now this is anywhere in the country of the United States of America.
So if
These
it's 24
people-
hours a day, right?
7 days a week. These people are on hand. Most of them are survivors, so they know exactly where you've been and what
Mhm.
you've been through, and they have access to programs. What are they called? Places to stay,
Oh, safe places.
safe places.
Mhm.
They have access to all of that. They can walk you through and make an exit plan. And here's the coolest thing. I forgot to tell you this. I don't even think you know this yet. When you're in this situation, obviously calling a domestic violence hotline
Mhm.
is not ideal because your partner could see that on your phone.
Use your friend's
Right?
phone.
No, you don't need to.
Buy a
The
burner.
domestic violence hotline shows up as a friend.
Oh, that's awesome.
It does not show up as a domestic. It
That's
doesn't even
amazing.
show up. I don't know how they do it, but it doesn't even show up in your phone bill has an 800 number.
I was going to say, I bet it says anonymous or something.
No, it gives a phone number, but
Okay.
it looks like it just would be something you'd go through.
Yeah.
You wouldn't stop and be like, what's that?
Yeah.
So they do that for you, and on your caller ID,
Uh-huh.
when you dial the number, it switches to something
Mhm.
else. So they protect you in that way.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was the movie? I know we both watched it. It's pretty recent, and it was a girl. Maid. Is it Maid?
Oh, that show was
That-
incredible.
Maid shows emotional abuse. There's some physical.
And physical too.
Yeah, but mostly emotional, and it is.
Well, it was
I
a
think
great-
a perfect depiction
But
of what it's like to be emotionally abused. I
And
highly
trying to get
recommend
out.
it. Yeah,
And trying to get out, and they even show the money,
yeah.
which I love that part of it because you can see as a single mom what
Like-
these people have to go
Yep.
through to get out.
75
And the
cents.
manipulation.
$1,
And a lot of the time,
yeah.
the guys or whoever the abusing party is, because it can be women too,
Mhm.
are sitting back thinking, they'll be back in 2 or 3 days
Mhm.
because I know financially they can't make it
Mhm.
without me. And you're so emotionally
Mhm.
abused, you're going to turn around. So that's why that community.
Mhm.
Step 2, if you're
And
the
watch
victim,
Maid.
find the exit plan, create
Mhm.
your exit plan, and step 2, find your community. You need to do this with
You
other
need a
people.
support system.
You cannot do it alone. I couldn't.
Right.
I isolated and was was miserable. I hit my rock bottom, but we don't need to go there today.
And honestly, I've been through this with friends, and I was there for them for years and years and years. And I finally had to say, like, you have to leave. Like, your children are getting hurt. You have to go. And I love you. And I'm here for you when you decide to leave. But, like, I can't just keep having the same conversation for 5 years and watching you be tortured and your children be tortured. Not literally tortured, but, well,
not literally.
Yeah, emotionally tortured. So, anyways.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday, even though this isn't the happiest subject.
But we got to talk about it.
We have to talk about these. Oh, it's happening.
It's happening everywhere. It happened to me for most of my life.
It happened to me as a child, That's why we're people pleasers.
So, and you guys, like I said, please reach out, call that hotline. Please do not suffer alone. Please don't suffer alone. There are so many resources out there right now. I'm happy to share any of them with you. I know Katie is. Get in touch with us or call that hotline. I'll put the number down. I can even say it again. 800-799-SAFE. I know it that well.
Yes. And she's going to be running a master class on trauma. So
rewriting your neural pathways. And this is one of the most important ways to start to overcome your emotional abuse. And that's, we'll learn about that next week, but that's to recreate your neural pathways. It's possible. I did it.
We talked about it. We talked about it, but we'll talk about it again.
All right. Everybody have a
Happy
great hump day.
Wednesday.
Friday, we are going to come back and talk about